The clang of iron weights and the low rumble of focused conversation filled the air at Titan Strength Gym. Fluorescent lights shone across rows of shining dumbbells, benches, and squat racks. It was a place where people came to better themselves, to build discipline, stamina, and confidence. Yet, as Jason Statham pushed open the heavy glass doors that morning, he could sense an undercurrent of tension rippling through the normally welcoming environment. At first, he couldn't pinpoint exactly what was off. The staff greeted him with the usual polite nods. The regulars recognized him and offered waves or fists raised in encouragement. But near the center of the free weights section, a tight cluster of onlookers formed, silent observers who looked uneasy. Jason's instincts tingled. He'd spent a lifetime recognizing the subtle cues of conflict. Hushed voices, narrowed eyes, tension in the shoulders. Something was going on, and it wasn't friendly. Before we proceed, like and subscribe to catch Jason Statham epic face-off against racist bodybuilders and comment where you're watching us from. Let's continue. Moving through the gym with a quiet confidence, Jason navigated past large steel racks until he found the source of the disturbance. 3 men, bulky and wearing matching tank tops emblazoned with some local bodybuilding team's logo, stood around a slender black man who was carefully loading plates onto a barbell. The bullies hovered too close, smirks plastered on their faces, taunting the man with low-voiced jabs that carried an ugly undertone. "You sure you can handle that weight, mate?" sneered the tallest of the trio, a shaved-headed giant with bulging biceps. "Don't want you snapping those chicken arms." The black man, who wore a simple gray t-shirt and sweatpants, responded calmly, "I've got it under control. Thanks." But the bullies didn't let him be. Another one, sporting a thick mustache, sniggered, "He'll probably cry if it's too heavy. Where you from anyway, man? Don't see many like you around here pushing big plates." His tone was drenched in a casual cruelty that set Jason's teeth on edge. The black man tightened his grip on the bar. He seemed more annoyed than fearful. "Where I'm from doesn't matter," he replied. "I'm just here to lift, same as you." Jason watched from a short distance, assessing the situation. Over the years, he'd confronted all sorts of bullies. He knew charging in fists first wasn't always the best approach. Still, the nastiness of the insults and the subtle bigotry that dripped from their words made his blood boil. This wasn't a small scuffle, this was targeted harassment. The tension in the onlookers' faces confirmed that something had to be done. He approached quietly, setting his water bottle on a nearby bench. "Hey," Jason said, voice even but carrying a clear authority. "Everything all right here?" The bullies glanced at him. One recognized him with a jolt, whispering to his buddies, "That's Jason Statham." They exchanged uncertain looks. The name alone was enough to unnerve them. They'd all seen his films, recognized that hardened stance was no act. But the tallest tried to hold on to his bravado. "We're fine," he said. "Just checking on our friend here, making sure he's not going to hurt himself." Jason raised an eyebrow, looking to the black man for confirmation. The man exhaled. "I'm all good, mate," he said, giving Jason a nod of thanks for intervening. "Just trying to get through my routine. These guys won't leave me alone." The bully with the mustache shrugged, a smirk flickering. "We're only giving him pointers, that's all." "Pointers," Jason echoed, voice low. He turned to face them, arms crossed over his chest. "Funny, it sounded more like you were mocking him. I don't recall hearing any actual lifting tips." The third bully, who'd been quiet, stepped forward, chest puffed out. "What's it to you, anyway? We were just joking." Jason's gaze hardened, though his tone stayed surprisingly calm. Jokes at the expense of someone's race or background aren't just jokes. They're harassment. He paused, letting the weight of his words settle. "You see, a gym is a place where we push each other, help each other grow, not tear each other down." A murmur ran through the small ring of onlookers. Some nodded, agreeing. Others just stood, eyes flicking between Jason and the bullies. Typically, the gym staff might intervene, but today it seemed everyone was waiting to see how this confrontation would unfold. The tallest bully's lips twisted into a sneer. "Oh, so you're the morality police now? We don't need a lecture from an action star." He spat the word star with mocking emphasis. "We pay our membership fees, same as everyone else. We can talk however we want." Jason's posture never wavered. "Sure, you can talk however you want. But you can't harass someone because of their skin color. That's not just insulting, it's vile. And it's not going to fly here." A hush fell. The black man set the barbell down, careful not to let the tension break his concentration. He studied Jason with a mix of gratitude and curiosity, as though trying to figure out how far Jason would go to support him. Then one of the bullies, maybe feeling cornered, tried a final dig. He nodded at the black man. "We're not the ones out of place. He is. Wrong gym for him." A mean grin twisted his lips. That was it. Jason's jaw tightened. He'd tried reason, but these men were determined to spread poison. "You three," he said quietly, "are the ones out of place if you think you can come in here and treat someone like trash because of his color. This is a gym, not your personal playground." The tension soared. The tall bully glanced around, noticing how many eyes were on them now. "Look, man," he said, spreading his arms in a false display of innocence. "We didn't mean anything by it. We're just having a laugh." The black man frowned. "Yeah, well, it's not funny to me." Jason nodded. "And it's not funny to anyone else either." There was a moment when it seemed the bullies might escalate. After all, how often do petty tough guys back down quietly? But Jason's unwavering stance, combined with the knowledge that he was a trained fighter, both on and off screen, diminished their bravado. The ring of silent onlookers grew, many crossing their arms, making it clear they supported the stance against bullying. A hush. Finally, the mustached bully scoffed, raising his hands in a half-hearted gesture of surrender. "Fine. If you want to side with him, that's your call." He jerked his head at the black man. "But don't say we didn't warn you when people like him cause trouble." Before Jason could reply, a new figure emerged, the gym manager, sweaty from his own workout. He'd clearly caught enough of the conversation to look furious. "I think that's enough," the manager said, stepping forward. "If you're going to be hateful, you're not welcome." "Understood." The bullies exchanged glances. They seemed to weigh whether to push their luck further, but the manager's stance was firm, and Jason's presence added an undeniable threat. So they did the only thing left. They shuffled away, muttering curses. The tallest shot a glare at Jason. "We won't forget this," he spat, grabbing his gym bag. One by one, they stomped off, presumably to the locker rooms. A wave of relief washed over the crowd. Slowly, the onlookers went back to their routines, though many paused to nod at Jason or pat the black man on the shoulder in support. The man gave Jason a grateful smile, extending his hand. "Thanks. I appreciate it," he said. "I'm Adrian, by the way." Jason shook his hand firmly. "Glad to help. Name's Jason." He paused, letting out a breath. "I'm sorry you had to go through that." Adrian sighed. "I've heard worse. But not often do people step up like you just did." Jason offered a small grin. "Bullies thrive when good people stay silent. I've never been big on staying silent." The gym manager approached, apologizing profusely to Adrian, promising that racism wouldn't be tolerated at Titan Strength. Jason watched Adrian's tense shoulders relax. For a moment, it seemed the confrontation was resolved. Yet, a nagging feeling remained at the back of Jason's mind. He remembered the glare, the parted lips of that tall bully as he spat. "We won't forget this." It wasn't an idle threat. Over the years, Jason had seen how wounded pride could fester in men unaccustomed to being challenged. This might not be the last he'd see of them. Still, he forced the thought away. Adrian deserved a supportive environment in which to train, and Jason wouldn't let the bully's looming threat overshadow the small victory of the moment. Nodding to Adrian, Jason grabbed a set of dumbbells. "Let's get back to working out, shall we?" Adrian laughed softly, returning to his barbell. The two men carried on with their routines, side by side, as a new energy of camaraderie radiated through the gym. Little did they know, the bullies weren't just slinking away to nurse their wounded pride. They were planning something bigger, a dramatic escalation that would rock Titan Strength Gym to its core. And when it came, Jason Statham would be tested in a way that would make this morning's confrontation look like a warm-up set. Jason Statham arrived at Titan Strength Gym the following day to an unexpected hush. Where there was usually the clank of iron and upbeat music, the atmosphere felt subdued, almost nervous. It didn't take him long to spot the cause. The three bullies stood near the entrance, arms folded, scanning the floor with hardened glares. Their presence cast a dark shadow over what should have been another normal day. "Great," Jason muttered under his breath. He had hoped yesterday's confrontation would keep them away or at least quell their hateful behavior. Instead, they were doubling down. A flicker of tension curled in his gut. He recognized that posture, pride bruised, anger simmering. They were waiting for an opportunity to reassert dominance. He made his way to the locker room, maintaining a cool facade. Passing them, he nodded politely, neither seeking nor avoiding eye contact. One of them spat on the floor near his path, a childish display of disrespect. The gym manager, sitting behind the reception desk, caught Jason's eye with an apologetic shrug, as though saying, "We're watching them, but we can't just kick them out without cause." Once he changed, Jason surveyed the weight area. He spotted Adrian at the squat rack. The man gave him a nod and a tight smile. "They're trying to intimidate everyone," Adrian murmured, hovering around, making comments. "One threatened me as soon as I walked in." Jason's eyes narrowed. "Threatened you how?" Adrian exhaled. "Something about knowing my place if I don't want more trouble." Real charming group. A wave of anger flared through Jason, but he kept it in check. Storming over to the bullies wouldn't help. He needed a clearer strategy. Over the next 30 minutes, he and Adrian quietly continued their workouts, ignoring the men as best they could. But it soon became apparent that ignoring them wouldn't be enough. Each time Adrian moved to a new station, one or more of the bullies would sidle up, sneering or dropping racially charged jabs under their breath. Nearby members cast sympathetic looks, but most avoided direct confrontation, not wanting to become targets themselves. The gym manager tried to intercede, urging the bullies to leave Adrian alone, but they insisted they were just talking. None of it rose to the level of physical violence, yet. Jason recognized the tension building like a powder keg. By the time he finished his last set of dumbbell presses, he'd had enough. He put down the weights, searching the gym for the manager. But then a shout shattered the relative calm. "Don't touch me." Adrian's voice, sharp with anger, rang out near the dumbbell rack. Jason whirled around to see the tallest bully gripping Adrian's wrist. A second bully stood behind, arms crossed. The black man's face was a mask of fury and indignation. Jason stepped in, swift and sure. "Let go of him," he ordered, voice low but slicing through the air. The tall bully released Adrian, turning to Jason with a twisted smirk. "Back off, star boy. This doesn't concern you." Adrian rubbed his wrist, eyes flashing. He tried to push me aside to grab dumbbells. Told me I was hogging them. I said, "Wait your turn." Then he laid hands on me. The gym manager rushed over, eyebrows knitted. "What's going on here?" Jason locked eyes with the bully. "I saw him grab Adrian." "That's assault." The mustached bully, stepping up behind his friend, barked. "He's lying. We just asked politely, and he got all mouthy." Adrian's jaw clenched. "I have the right to work out like anyone else, without being shoved around." The manager sighed, obviously caught in the middle. He glared at the bullies. "You three have been stirring trouble since you came in. I'm asking you to leave for the day." That should have ended it, but the tallest bully's pride was well past the point of reason. He scoffed. "We pay membership fees. We're not going anywhere." Jason put a hand on the manager's shoulder. "Call the cops if you have to. They're physically harassing people. Enough is enough." A hush fell. Some onlookers backed away, sensing the situation was about to explode. The mustached bully took a step closer to Jason, chest puffed. "You think we're scared of you? You might be a tough guy on camera, but this is real life." Jason's expression didn't budge. "You want to test that theory?" For a heartbeat, no one breathed. Then the mustached bully sneered, launching a wild punch at Jason's face. In a flash, Jason ducked, weaving to the side with practiced grace. He grabbed the man's wrist mid-swing, redirecting his momentum so the bully stumbled forward. With a deft twist, Jason pinned the bully's arm behind his back, forcing him to drop to one knee. The crowd gasped, and the other two bullies froze. Jason's voice was calm but cold. "Walk away right now. This doesn't have to get worse." "You." The pinned man gritted his teeth, trying to wrench free. "Let me go." Jason eased the pressure enough so the bully could stand, but kept a firm grip. The tall one snarled, stepping up as if to intervene. Adrian, seeing the tension escalate, slid in front of Jason, arms raised. "Don't," he said. "This is done." The tall bully's nostrils flared. For a moment, it seemed he might leap at them both. But a group of gym patrons, previously just onlookers, took a step forward. They weren't going to let three racists jump Jason and Adrian. Realizing they were outnumbered, the tall bully spat at the floor again, like a defeated dog snapping one last time. Then he grabbed his friend's shoulder. "Let him go," he muttered to Jason. "We'll leave." Jason released the mustached bully, who yanked his arm back, face contorted in fury. They slunk away, collecting their bags from the locker area under the manager's stern gaze. As they passed by the front desk, the manager informed them they were officially banned from Titan Strength Gym. The men hurled curses, but with a threat of police involvement looming, they stomped out. A heavy silence followed, then a wave of relief and applause from a few onlookers. Adrian let out a ragged breath, still rattled. "Thanks," he said to Jason. "I was ready to defend myself, but that was intense." Jason nodded, swallowing the leftover adrenaline. "Are you okay?" "Yeah," Adrian managed a shaky laugh. "Guess the day's workout was more eventful than I planned." The manager approached, apologizing to Adrian again and praising Jason's calm intervention. "I'm sorry we didn't expel them earlier. They'd been trouble brewing for a while. Didn't realize it'd escalate so fast." Jason patted the manager's shoulder. "You did what you could. Just keep the place safe. No one should have to worry about bigotry in a gym." Soon, the gym's normal hum returned, though the story of what happened circulated among members. People approached Adrian, offering supportive words. Some apologized for not stepping in sooner. Others praised Jason, commending his quick action. But he waved off the compliments, explaining that a community stands together, and next time, no one should wait for a single person to speak up. Over the next few days, Titan Strength Gym regained its welcoming vibe. The bullies remained gone, exiled by the manager's ban. Word had it they tried complaining to corporate, but faced with multiple witness statements, they had no case. Meanwhile, Adrian found himself with new workout partners, men and women who offered camaraderie instead of hostility. Jason kept training as usual, though every so often, he glanced at the entrance, half expecting the bullies to make good on their threats. But they never did. Perhaps they realized that in the face of a united community, their intimidation tactics no longer held power. One quiet afternoon, as Jason was finishing a cardio session, Adrian sat beside him. "I just wanted to say," Adrian began, "you stepping in meant more than just stopping bullies. I've dealt with racism all my life, and it's rare that someone of your status stands up for me so directly." Jason looked thoughtful. "Maybe you shouldn't have to rely on big names to stand up. But I'm glad I could help. Everyone deserves respect. Nobody should be singled out for their skin color." A warm smile spread across Adrian's face. "Exactly." They sat in companionable silence for a moment, wiping sweat from their faces. Jason remembered the tension that had crackled through the gym, the spike of adrenaline, the rush of anger he'd felt at hearing hateful words. He was grateful it ended without major injury, and prouder still that the gym community stood behind the right side. Before leaving, Adrian offered his hand. "If you ever need a spotter, let me know." Jason grinned. Likewise. As he left Titan Strength that day, Jason reflected on how a single act of standing up for someone can unite a place that was on the verge of fracturing. And though he was known worldwide as an action hero on screen, it was these moments, real life stands against injustice, that truly defined his sense of honor. No cameras rolled, no dramatic soundtrack played. Yet it was a triumph all the same, a moment that proved dignity and respect must be fought for daily. And for Jason Statham, accustomed to saving the day in movie scripts, nothing felt more authentic than protecting a stranger's right to be treated as an equal, especially when bullies dared to say otherwise.